Okay, here we are again, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with Miss Carole LaPointe. Carole, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Mitch.
So here's the ground rules. Each candidate has a 60-minute time limit. No talking about other candidates. Carole, you and I know each other from before this interview, but we'll have to assume that there could be people out there listening that do not know you personally. So we're going to cover things with that in mind.
Okay.
And last but not least, these are straight cut videos. There are no edits other than when we reset the cameras due to this one over here only taking 10-minute segments. So, sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, Carole. So step one, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name is Carole LaPointe, and I am the daughter of Donald LaPointe and Marjorie LaPointe. And I am living in Baraga. I graduated from Baraga High School in 1973, and I have 5 grown children and 8 grandchildren. I also graduated from Suomi College of Nursing, which is now Finlandia, in 1986, and I've been a registered nurse for 33 years. I currently serve as team lead at the Nimigimmewang Transitional Home, and I've been doing that for about 1 year and 2 months. And before that, I retired for a very short time, 10 months. And before that, I was KBIC health director for almost 10 years. And before that, I was a director of nursing downstate for a 58-bed nursing home. And before that, I worked at Michigan Tech as Native American Outreach Coordinator for 5 years. And before that, I was a staff nurse for Keweenaw Bay in the old tribal center. I came to Keweenaw Bay after I graduated from nursing school, about 4 years into my nursing career. And my first nursing job was at Grandview Hospital in Ironwood. And I did my med-surg rotation. And after a couple of years, as a nurse, you pick what your favorite is and where you want to,
It's kind of what you want to do on your track.
What your specialty is. And so I picked obstetrical nursing, which was delivering babies and working in the nursing unit, OB nursing unit, and working in the NICU if there was a NICU. And I've enjoyed that ever since in different aspects. I came to the nursing or the Department of Health in the early 80s, and I served as the maternal child nurse and infant support services nurse. It was an initiative through the state, and Ted Halapo was the health director then. And then I became WIC coordinator, and then I worked up myself to the staff nurse. And then I worked under John Sepinen as health administrator. And slowly went up the ladder there and finally became health director, like I said, for nearly 10 years. Very rewarding years. You get a good picture of the community. I served on council in 2014, and I served as vice chairman during that year also.
So is that your first term as a council member?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so let's go back to that. What initially got you to run out for council that first time?
I just felt the need to run and as I do now, because I feel that leaders should be public servants. I run to be a servant to our community, to raise the people, to raise them up to the highest level they can be, to empower them, to find out what's best for them and what can make our community move forward.
Very good. What was that first term like? What was it like being on the ground working?
It was very educational. Being vice chairman And being health director at the same time was very busy time. And it taught me a lot about the responsibilities of the executive portion of the government. And I learned a lot about how the council runs. And when you become a council member, there's no orientation period. You hit the ground running and you start running the government. And that's the way it is. And I learned that. And I wish it would have been different, but it wasn't. And I'm going to try again. I believe I have a lot to offer the community, and that's why I chose to run. I care about our tribe. I care about the drug problem. I care about everything that goes on here. And that's just me. I'm a public servant. I always have been. And even in high school, anybody that knows me knows that I was always, the mover and shaker of the group. And let's do this and let's do this, and
okay.
That's how I am.
So 2014 was when you served that first term there.
Exactly.
Why are you running this year? Why didn't you run years previous to this? And why was it this year, the year that you decided to run again?
I decided to focus on my job. I didn't want to. It was too big doing both. And I've had a break. I've been in retirement. And I just am not a retirement person. I have to be busy. I have to, keep busy. I'm very busy in the community right now. I serve as secretary of the Ojibwa Senior Citizens. I'm on the Barriga County Extended Care Facility. I'm the president of the nursing home board, and I'm also the secretary of the hospital board. And I also serve as a representative for the youth committee. And all these things, I hold dear to me. And I become very involved, and because I want to see the people empowered. Yeah.
So you felt the need the whole time to get back to council, but you couldn't ignore it till now.
Right.
I mean, you ignored it till now.
Right.
Because you had to focus on other things.
I didn't ignore it. I just
try to say, I got to wait for a little while.
Can I fit that in? Can I fit that in? No. Yeah, this is a good time I can fit it in.
Yeah, making sure you could commit.
Right.
Right. Okay, so
it takes a lot of commitment.
Absolutely. So we're going to reset these cameras. We're reaching the first timer. We have our cameras back up and running. I think that we will now go to the Facebook questions.
Okay.
And as always, I'm just going to the KBIC Tribal Members Facebook page, which is where we have a post there for people to add questions, and we're pulling from that pool of questions. So anybody can go there and look at those and whatnot. So with that being said, we're going to go to the bottom of the list here because that's where the updated ones are. We'll go to... Let me expand the questions here, and I can scroll through them even easier. And I do appreciate all the interaction so far from the community. That was one thing I banked on, is I wanted to have questions from the people. And, I might have put the post out there and nobody asked anything, but there's a lot of interaction there.
Oh, that's good. The more, the merrier.
Absolutely. So let's go with, we'll go Zena Pitsley's again. What would each candidate do for our tribe as a whole that the previous council has not?
Well, because I enjoy working with people in all settings. Like I said before, I totally believe in the concept of servant leadership. And my goal is to become a council member that would serve the people of the Keweenaw Bay Indian community. I would like to put their needs first and empower people to become the best that they can be.
Okay.
Whether they be in their jobs, if they're unemployed, if they're in drug court, if they're in treatment. I believe that there's things that we can do everywhere in this community to help our people become good people and to empower them to develop to the best they can be.
All right, very good. So this one is, it's formed out of Zena Pitsley's questions here. To those who already have experience on council, what will you do differently this time around?
This time around, I'd probably ask more questions. I'd probably be more cautious in my votes because I'd have to know more information about it. In order to grow a community, you have to listen to all sides, and I think I would be more conscious of how it would affect people in different settings.
Okay.
And that is what I'd want to be.
Very good. And this is continuing on with Zena's questions here. She says, how would you implement a plan to clean up our reservation? I do believe that's talking about the drug epidemic that we have going on here. Which is a big one.
I think there's a lot of little steps that we've done so far. But what we need to do is break down our walls between our departments. They call them silos. And we need to work together more. We need the tribal police on board. We need the tribal court on board. We need the transitional home on board. We need social services on board. We need the health department on board. Everyone needs to invest themselves to end this problem. And it doesn't look, the problem doesn't look the same for everyone. Everyone's at different levels of the problem. And there's a good movement going on right now. It's called ACEs. And it's in the state of Michigan. And it's Adverse Childhood Experiences, ACE. And what it is a test that's given to children when they're very young, they look at the adverse childhood experiences that everybody's had.
Mm-hmm.
And you deal with those childhood experiences. You're made aware of them, and you help people through them. Once you know what's the problem is, you don't say, "What's wrong with you? Why are you like this?"
Yeah.
You don't deal with it that way. You know what happened to them, and so you deal with them in a more empowering and caring way.
I like that.
And you know the problem, and you can help them get over it, build a bridge and get over it.
Yep.
And this can start at a very young age. And it can work for older people too, and teenagers. Once they realize that they don't have to be defined by their problems, they can move on and live a healthier life.
Yes.
And that's, and each segment that I mentioned needs the training in the ACEs. There needs to be training for everyone that are in these helping positions. We're not in these positions to incarcerate our people and, lock them up for years, and we're here to help.
Yeah.
And the sooner that we could implement a program like this, the better it will be for our community. And I just believe that that's a good approach to handling any problem: alcohol, drugs, opioids, dysfunctional families, sexual assault, domestic violence. It works with everything when you understand where that person's coming from.
Okay, very good. I like it.
Thank you.
We have a little bit of cushion here, but we're going to reset the timers again. Does the culture play a big role in how you act in the world?
The culture would be another aspect, another silo. And some people will be able to be treated with more cultural things than others. And some people won't. But that is the strength that we have, is our culture and our I'm trying to think of sweats.
Yeah.
Our sweat lodges and our medicines. That's a strength that would make us more unique in solving the problem. And that's what our strength is. Our culture is our strength, along with our language. And that's what sets us aside from everyone else. And that's, I believe that's what the pillars are of healing this community.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting to hear how everybody has their take on it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move on in these questions here. Let's go to this one from Michael Dowd. Good, straightforward question. What, in your opinion, would be the perfect tribal council member?
Well, number one, you got to show up.
Step one.
I believe that anybody who shows up and is at the table and contributes and gives their opinion, maybe we should go down the table one by one. What's your vote? Not someone who silently agrees or disagrees.
Yeah.
I believe if you have an opinion about something, you should be able to say it, and you should share it.
Okay. So let's go to... Oh, and there's my phone making noises on us. Let's go to Mike Rodriguez. And that's somebody I don't know. I mean, there's tribal members out...
I know who Mike is.
Do you? He says, shouldn't all members be able to vote regardless of where they live?
You know, I talked about this earlier with one of my friends, and you know, I agree that everyone in the whole nation should be able to vote. And the reason I feel this way is because many of our people, and I'm talking about my father's age and up, now they'd be in their 80s or 90s and even younger, were sent away to work. They went to Milwaukee, they went to Chicago, they went to California. My aunties went to California, Phoenix, in these big metropolitan areas where they had jobs for Native people.
Yep.
They were sent. Detroit was another place they went. And then they ended up settling and raising their families. And I don't think they should be penalized because they settled. You know what? They made the best they could for their family and their children and their grandchildren. And to come back here is, you know, I used to come back and visit every summer when I was a kid because we lived in Kalamazoo when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And every summer we made the trek, 10-hour drive. You know, Dad, are we there yet? Are we there yet? You know, when are we going to be there? You know, all this stuff. And, you know, it was our vacation to come back here.
You looked forward to coming home?
And visiting relatives. And everybody, and finally, we did move back in the 70s, and then I graduated from Baraga. But all that aside, you know, that's what happened to people, and that's why they're settled in Milwaukee and, you know, Chicago and other places. And they have jobs, and they're very successful. We have many successful people from our tribe that don't live here.
Yeah.
We have doctors, we have nurses, we have lawyers, we have social workers, we have psychologists, we have psychiatrists. And if they're shunned because they didn't grow up here, that's wrong. Mm-hmm. Everybody deserves the right to come back and vote.
So do you believe that there should be a system for proxy voting, or should they have to come back and vote in person? Because we've heard a lot of different alternatives now.
Well, you know, I think that would be up to them. If they can make it back, if they can afford the trip, come on back and vote. But maybe they'd want to see these talks, and maybe they will see these talks that we have on Facebook. And, you know, yeah, I think everybody should be able to vote.
So you think they should be able to do it by mail from where they might be living across?
I think that, I don't know how that
electronic?
works. Yeah, electronic would be nice.
Yeah, okay. Very good. So let's move to another one of the big topics here. We'll knock them all out. The next big one, blood quantum. What's your opinion on blood quantum?
Well, it's not getting any longer. I mean, I think that we have to do something. And like, I agree with most people on this, that we need to do something like Red Lake did, because otherwise we're going to be extinct. And that is what the government wanted. We're the only race that has to have a blood quantum, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so this is how we fight them back.
There you go. I like it. Good. I feel like I want to cut that out, make it an inspirational quote or something like that. Okay.
Red power.
Yeah, there you go. Well, another simple one here. Mr. Robin Chosa asks, what are some key elements for our tribe to ensure financial stability for our future generations?
Well,
I can split that up for you if you want. I mean, we got a couple of things we want to cover. First of all, the casino projects is a big one. Do you have anything to say on the casino projects?
Oh, I'm very happy to see them developing, and I think that once it gets going and running, I think that we'll have more options to offer for our people. I'm not all in on the marijuana project at this time. I am just reading about it's coming, it's here. I'm not accepting it, but I don't want it to affect the health. I don't want to impact the health of our people.
Okay.
Negatively. And there's pros and cons to that too. And I think if that operation does get going, it will be very good for the tribe too. But I just need to know more information about it. I don't feel like I know everything that I want to know about it, and that's what is holding me back from giving you a good answer, because I don't know.
That's a good answer. That's a good, consistent answer.
We need more information.
Yep. Just a bit ago, you said that this time around you would definitely concentrate on asking more questions, finding out more.
Exactly.
So that's a good, consistent answer. We're reaching the timers again. We're going to reset cameras. It's going quick, huh?
Okay, yeah, it is.
Okay, so we have our cameras back up and running. Let me just set my timer here. And we're off. Okay, so you touched a little bit on the casino project. You touched a little bit on the cannabis adventure. Let's go to this question from Deborah Parrish. Other than the cannabis operation, what other businesses do you see viable for the tribe's investment?
Well, I think that our efforts in food sovereignty can be developed more. We have the community gardens, and we have the tree giveaway, and we have a hoop house at the Pelkey school. Developing those programs, we could probably produce food for our tribe, have lots of jobs for farmers.
That's big right now.
Right,
that's big everywhere.
Getting
sustainability.
Sustainability is what's key, and working our land is very important and could lead to a lot of jobs. I too visited the hydroponic greenhouse down at Nottawasepi, and it's a wonderful project, and it's about the size of the casino, or not this casino, the Pines. If you were to lay it out, it's probably about that big, the greenhouse.
The building?
Yes, the building.
Okay.
And they feed their tribe, which is much smaller than ours, and they also feed the city of Battle Creek schools.
Wow.
And they've also opened up their own restaurant that they have a chef there that's very innovative in working with the food produced, and he also created a food bank for people, to come and get food if they are in need.
That's
and
awesome.
They donate monthly to various organizations that need food, and there's a lot of them in our community that need them, and so that would be a good project for us as well to work up to. I think that it's very important that we work with the Ojibwa Community College to develop more employment positions, maybe going into the trades.
Yes.
And vocational education. Not everybody's college material, but they can work. And we need to we need to stop outsourcing these projects that we're building casinos, and we need to have our people building the buildings. And so they need training in carpentry and electricians and welders and mechanics. And we do have empty buildings around Baraga County that don't need building that we could probably put these things in. Yeah. So that and developing entrepreneurships through some of the programs that Eddie has through Lake Superior Development CDC. That could be another avenue to start new businesses.
Yes.
And along with businesses, of course, we're going to need housing. Housing's a commodity around here. There isn't very many places to live.
Yeah.
And we need more houses built. So with that, creating those jobs in construction and the trades, we can do that. So I think we have a lot of options here.
Yeah, I mean, you're not just about creating jobs, you're about creating the workers for the jobs.
Right. And those workers are our community members.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think we've reached that point. I just kind of feel it out. I think that we can go to the point now where if there's a topic you'd like to cover, something you'd want to talk about that I didn't cover, is there anything that pops up for that? Well,
of course, always the health careers pop up in my mind. I think that we can develop those more as well. There's a lot of people working on getting professionals here. Like in the UP, we have about 300,000 people, and we only have 8 psychiatrists. Mm-hmm. So this Michigan State University is working on a project right now to grow psychiatrists for the UP.
Really?
And so they have a couple placed here, and they're paying for their education. As long as they stay here, they'll pay for their education. So, we should think about training people to become health professionals in the same way.
Okay.
If someone wants to go to school to be a doctor, we should pay their way. If they want to become a psychiatrist, psychologist, social workers, we have plenty of social workers. And I saw a post there about the pay. Well, we should strive to pay, what they deserve. That's a very stressful vocation.
Yes.
And we need to raise the pay to keep them here. And when we have all this working, our jobs and employment and housing, we'll be able to do that with the new economic opportunities.
Okay, so last but not least, go ahead, and this is where you can pretend the cameras are here again and you can talk to the voters.
Okay. I really like working with people. I totally believe in the concept of servant leadership, where I'm serving the people and not myself. The question was brought up, if we're having such dire straits in economics, and if the council would not take a wage, I wouldn't take a wage if it came to that, or a lower wage. And I really don't think that we need to meet as much. I think the meetings can be streamlined. The boards I'm on meet once a month. They get business done. They get work done. I think that the meetings can be once a month, twice a month, maybe a business meeting, maybe a council meeting. I don't think that we need to micromanage our managers as much either. Let the managers do their job. Let them come and report. And that's the way it can work. Empower your managers. My goal for becoming a council member would be to serve the people of our community. And that means empowering the people of our community and developing their skills to the highest level. And I appreciate your vote. I appreciate you listening. And please call me if you want to discuss anything else. And thank you for this time, Mitch.
Thank you, Carole.